Wisconsin Sugar Glider Sanctuary and Rescue. If you put this ordinance in place, it has the potential to swamp me, because I've already gotten calls. And I said, just hold on, let's wait. I have successfully gotten the city of Middleton to exempt sugar gliders. Their ordinance reads no marsupials except sugar gliders. Then I went to the city of Madison and I got them to change their ordinance because it did read no marsupials. They changed their ordinance for me in January of 2013. If I get swamped and can't adopt these animals out, I'm gonna have to kill healthy sugar gliders. And I don't wanna have to do that.
Okay.
But I'm here to say, you know, some of the stuff that you got from HSUS, you're not gonna catch anything from a sugar glider that you can't catch from your dog or cat. And sugar gliders cannot transmit or even get rabies. There has never been a case of a sugar glider or any possum or opossum ever getting rabies. Their body temperature is lower than ours, and the virus does not multiply in their body to be transmittable. So I'm gonna urge you to please exempt sugar gliders.
Okay.
These are just babies. The adults are not any bigger than my fist. And in the one section here, in a letter to the mayor, it said, captive wild animals pose a public safety risk. They list sugar gliders, and then it says down here, they can and do injure and kill people. The worst bite I have gotten would be like if you've ever gone and donated blood, and they stick you to check your iron. That's what you get from a sugar glider's teeth. They're that tiny. So I'm gonna urge you to please exempt them.
Okay. We'll take that under advisement. Thank you for coming in. Earlier today, I think that we all as well saw an email that had come in from the humane officer, and she received some similar insight about sugar gliders and the fact that as far as a category of concern, that the person that she had gotten her information from didn't consider them to be, you know, very concerning either in terms of communicable disease, etc. So, all right, next.
My name is Megan Villand. The last name is spelled V as in Victor, I-L-L-A-N-D.
Welcome.
And I'm speaking for a large number of people that are sitting up here on the left and the front, which are members of the UW Stevens Point Herpetology Society, of which I am the president today.
Okay, welcome.
The Herpetology Society would just like to stress the importance of reptiles and amphibians as, of course, largely a non-communicable source of disease. There is an informational packet which I will hand out, which I believe you were emailed today.
Yes.
By Erica Mead and or Ryan McVeigh as well, who would have liked to attend today to represent the Madison Area Herpetological Society, which we also work with very closely, but they were not able to make it today, unfortunately, due to a flight delay and the movement of the meeting time. And there is a lot of information in that packet that has to do with the risk of salmonellosis and the transmission of zoonotic diseases from reptiles, which stresses the absolute minimal risk of disease transmission from all reptiles and amphibians in captivity. And I had some additional comments as well. The Herpetology Society of Stevens Point was founded in 1992, so we have a really strong history in our community on the campus, and we have a membership of over 270 students, including our faculty advisors. Our goal is to educate the community about reptiles and amphibians, and particularly to encourage respect, dispel myths, and promote conservation efforts for these creatures. So we feel very strongly in opposition to the proposed ordinance, including any of the reptiles that were listed, including the crocodilians, and there is more information in the packet about our specific opposition to the crocodilians as well. The majority of the reptiles which were included in the proposed ordinance as written were harmless constricting snakes and harmless rear fang snakes, which are not considered medically significant to humans, and an outright ban on these creatures with no provisions for permitting, retail sale, possession, or propagation would instantly criminalize hundreds to thousands of people, including dozens of local businesses, such as pet stores and breeders, who have interwoven these animals into their lives and their livelihoods. These animals are fully domesticated, and that doesn't even include the professional organizations such as the UW Stevens Point Herpetology Society, which makes use of the animals for conservation and education-related purposes. And similar to the sugar gliders, finding suitable homes for displaced animals after such legislature has passed, as it has in other cities in the state of Wisconsin, is a very difficult challenge, one which places many animals into non-ideal housing situations or potentially facing euthanasia. Reptiles have been established in captivity for generations, and they're a deeply integrated and important part of the pet community in the United States. You might not be particularly aware of it because a lot of your neighbors that have them are quiet about it because of the public fear and misinformation that is so widely spread. But over 4.7 million US households own at least one pet reptile, and they're a part of the family just as much as any cat or dog, and they are less of a chance of spreading disease than those mammalian animals as well. And reptile ownership greatly stimulates the local and national economy in many different areas, from pet supplies, veterinary care, local and domestic shipping, gasoline, hotel and venue expeditions, restaurants, and tax revenues that are income from those animals being a part of the pet community. And many reptiles themselves are actually of significant value to dedicated hobbyists, which is really rare from a lot of other captive, what you would typically consider wildlife, including a lot of things on the proposed ordinance. So they kind of are a unique situation from a lot of the other animals. And because they're such a large financial investment and they're bred in captivity and selectively bred to have specific genes, sort of like goldfish or guppies or some dogs, because they're so valuable, they typically experience exceedingly good welfare because there's such a large financial investment, and it's not something that you're gonna just jump into lightly and not take care of and not protect and make sure that it's not going to escape. And there's millions of passionate and responsible reptile keepers. Those are just not the ones that you tend to hear about through the media. The responsible keepers immensely outnumber those few irresponsible citizens who have caused the legally abiding and responsible keepers to suffer for their actions when legislature such as the proposed ordinance is put into place.
Sure.
The proposed ordinance truly solves no legitimate problem or real threat to public health and safety in light of the reptiles that have been included on the list, and only seem to justify a deeply embedded bias toward reptiles, particularly snakes, in human communities. And Wausau, like many community, is home to many reptile owners who deeply cherish and provide excellent care for their animals. Reptile bans do unfortunately exist in some places, and most date back several decades. However, many of them have since been repealed or amended as lawmakers have become more and more educated about these animals, as organizations like ours and the Madison Area Herp Society have become more outspoken. And we feel that passing a law simply because others have done it is not justified reasoning. So we at the UWSP Herpetology Society, and I'm representing the Madison Area Herpetology Society today as well, who could not attend, strongly urge you to do what is right for the community by not supporting reptiles on this agenda item. So may I hand out the
Sure,
information?
definitely. Yep, if you want to bring it up actually to the clerk and she'll distribute it for you.
Copies to be left with everybody, or just this is what you? This is what I have. Okay, I'll just put this on file if they all have them, so go ahead there.
Okay, do we have additional public comment? Welcome.
Thank you. I am not here on behalf of any society. I am an exotics breeder. If it flies, swims, crawls, slithers, I have probably kept it at some point. I guess my little tidbit to add would be for the board to consider very carefully some of the origins of these creatures. The previous speaker touched on the topic a little bit of animals being bred for in generations and no longer resembling some of their wild ancestors. Speaking directly to the incident involving the fox, I think that a bit more due research could be done with that species in particular alongside skunks and raccoons because, and I have submitted a form for if anyone wishes to contact me for additional information. But there are captive strains of foxes, raccoons, and skunks that physiologically do not resemble their wild cousins. And so I feel very strongly could not be truly considered to be wild, because even if, for hypothetically, they were raised by a wild mother, due to generations of being kept in captivity, they would not be able to sustain themselves as a wild individual or even a wild population. I do believe that having kept foxes myself, that they are not suitable to be kept within city limits, given their somewhat destructive nature. And to put it simply, every one I've raised, I could describe as being like a cat without the superiority complex. So they are very touchy, they are very high strung. And so while I do not support them being banned outright from the county, I do support them not being allowed in the city given their high strung nature and the potential dangers associated with city living.
Okay. Any decision that this committee would make at any time does not affect Marathon County. Only the city of Wausau proper within the city limits. We can't influence Marathon County. So anyone in an outlying area would not be affected by any decision we make.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you.
Did I miss your name and address? Can you state that again?
Oh, my
please?
apologies. I should have stated that right away. My name is Josh Schreiber. I live at 4606 Homestead Road, which is now, since the address changed, 235608 Homestead Road.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Anyone else wish to offer public feedback? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Garrett DeMeyer, and I live at 1709 Eagle Valley Lane in Wausau. I'm actually the owner and operator of a business called Captive Reptile Specialties, and my trade name is Royal Constrictor Designs. I've been in business for, as a full-time profession for over 20, or almost 20 years now, and I mainly specialize in small species of pythons and geckos, and I've bred a lot of different types of animals, or a lot of different types of reptiles. And I'm not here, I'm here to basically explain that, you know, they're, kind of lost my train of thought, sorry. I'm not here basically to help support my own business. Whether or not a ban would take place in the city of Wausau would not personally affect me, so that's not my motivation for being here. My facility that I breed these animals in, which is on East Wausau Avenue, just outside of the city limits. So, I mean, this isn't because I want to make sure that that my business is safe. I don't really sell retail out of my facility. I do mostly mail order. I ship all over the country and actually all over the world. Anyway, I just want to, I think Megan pretty much summed everything up that I wanted to say initially, but I'd also like to offer my expertise and knowledge. If you would like to ever contact me regarding a specific incident or type of animal or anything like that, I'm happy to help out. I actually have business cards here that I would like to distribute.
Yep, the clerk will come and get that from you.
Okay. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, a lot of the species that you have in this proposed ban, there's really there's no sensible reason why they should be banned. And also, a lot of people do have them as pets, and you know, a lot of people don't know who, you know, a lot of their neighbors may have pets that are of these types of animals, and there's no reason. I mean, small constricting snakes like horned snakes and ball pythons have no capability of injuring or hurting a person. So I think to lump them into one giant exotic animals thing with rhinoceros and hippos and all that is just kind of not thinking very clearly about the situation. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna distribute out these business cards. If you do need any help in the future on this, I've got a lot, I mean, my whole life has been spent working with reptiles. I've got a lot of good experiences with them. I was actually a founding member of the UWSP Herpetology Society back in '92. And I'm happy to, I mean, if you ever have any questions about anything and you would like to contact me, you can contact me through the sources on my business card. I'm happy to help. I want to do what's best for the animals and what's best for the public as well.
Excellent. Thanks for coming in.